Okay, let's talk politics for a second.
Okay.
What do you make of Trump's first 3 weeks, almost a month, in office?
Hey, man, Donald Trump came in like Tupac on the intro and hit him up. That's why I fucked your bitch, nigga. That's like the first thing he did when he got in. Like, he got in and got in the White House. Why I fucked your bitch, nigga. He just going crazy with it, man. That motherfucker he like a video game villain. It's like, you ever played a video game and they showing you the story when the shit first come on, you be like, when do I get to fight this motherfucker? Like, that's what it is. But, you know, like, I look at a lot of stuff like this in regards to politics. A lot of times I try to stay out of it because, I know that ain't shit being done for the people that I would like to see shit being done for, rather. And like, for example, I just had this conversation with somebody the other day, Smallz, about Obama, and they asked me, it's like, you miss Obama yet? And it's like, not really, because it was just a figure just like Trump is. You know what I mean? There wasn't the only connection we really had to him as a politician is that we felt like because he was a black person, that he understood what we were going through, and he knew, and it was a part of him, even though that wasn't ever really shown to us directly a lot throughout his presidency. You know what I mean? He didn't do a lot of things that were directly focused towards black people, and this is for black people. I'm about to do this for y'all, and that's it. So if those things would have happened, then my, missing Obama would have been, man, of course I miss him. Look at everything that he did for people who come from where I come from and look like me and all of that. Of course I miss him, because we'll never get that again. We didn't only have one black president. So, I don't think that we should be looking at Trump and holding him to some type of standard. Like, why do you expect him to do what's right by you? You expected Obama to do what's right by you because he came in and said that this is what he planned on doing. And I connect with you people. And, I connect with not you people, but the people. That's the difference. To Trump, it's you people. With Obama, it was supposed to be us people. So now that Trump is in office, hey, all that shit that you was mad about, you should have been mad for them 8 years and getting on Obama ass and making him change it, forcing him to change it. Because we shouldn't have been so complacent as a people, in my opinion. Like, imagine if Obama would have did in his first couple days in office what Trump has done in his first couple days, what shit would have looked like. So when you get that in your mind and you realize that, he's back. The white man is back in power. You know what I'm saying? We had 8 years of seeing something that we never seen before, never thought that we would see before. But now the white man is back in power, and he's going to handle things his way. So don't be confused. Don't act like, I can't believe that he's doing this. You should, because when has that example been set any other way throughout the history of time? You know what I mean? Especially with people who look and come from the background that Donald Trump come from. If there was ever a time where we should have expected something different and fought and wanted for something different, it was 8 years of the Obama presidency, because there's never been somebody that we can look at and say, he should feel me. Like, we never had that in the history of America. There's never been somebody that we could look at and be like, you know what, I know he feel what I'm going through because he one of us. He one of us. So I know that I should be able to get some type of direct result because this is our president, our first one. That, if that didn't happen for you in the 8 years, it ain't going to happen. Because now, the hammer is coming down. He's back. The white man is back in power, and he's going to handle things his way. So that's just what it is. And that's the same way he's been handling things for the longest time. However the fuck he feel like it.
But there is a different air in this presidency, and the fact that, okay, let's just say George Bush Jr., for example, right? When people were upset at his first presidency and then he got reelected again off of the voting and the Chad in Florida, all that stuff, and there was a big riff with that and how he got back in again in office and people said it was fixed and this, that, and the third. You didn't see people protesting after he got into the office like you see people protesting Trump. And then you didn't even see people protesting the cabinet choices that George Bush, like for instance, the Secretary of Education, this woman they have now in place. Yeah, you had protesters blocking her from, entering a school that she was supposed to make do some business in the other. Like, you just never even saw that with the cabinet choices.
Mm-hmm.
So why do you think that's happening with this presidency, and you haven't seen that with other presidencies before, and people were just as upset? People were upset with George Bush Jr., with the FEMA and the Katrina, the first 4 years in office. I believe that happened. So, him coming in office again, people were upset. So why is that this time we're seeing that?
I think a lot of it has to do with just access. You know what I mean? Information traveled a whole lot quicker than it did when George Bush Jr. was in office. Information travels tremendously quicker. So I think a lot of what you're seeing probably was going on during that time. You just didn't have the access to it. You had to be there to know what happened. And George Bush was his ability he was more like a comedic, he was comic relief for a lot of people who didn't believe in what it was that he was doing, in regards to just how crazy he would sound when he would do interviews and all types of stuff like that. But the same thing that I just told this to somebody, his name is also George Bush. Like, that's a political dynasty. Like, he comes from politics. So people might not recognize that, but you're going to give him a certain aura of respect in regards to that because of the legacy. Whether you dislike the legacy or you support it, you respect the fact that this is a Bush, this is somebody whose family has been in politics for 60, 70 years. So there's a lineage of politicians who have been trained to be able to navigate these type of situations that you described in the negative, and when things happen that, people protesting and all that, they have been trained their whole life to be able to spin these type of situations to make them go away without you knowing that they exist. And they were able to do that in a time when information wasn't so readily available to people. So people didn't even know that these things was being spent around, and their faces were being covered with the towels. Now that's not the case. You get information like this immediately. Something happened, it's immediately on social media. Everybody's, people get their news off Facebook now rather than the real news. Like, people get their news off of Instagram. So we've watched Donald Trump, somebody that already has a history of being who he is. He already was one of the most famous people on the planet. His name is not synonymous with politics. His name is synonymous with big business and, pop culture shit. So to watch him and his transition to becoming the president, it infuriated people because they were able to watch it on so many different levels, and it was personable. Like, they were able to see this happen right before their eyes, debates and things that he said being put up in clips. Like, when George Bush was running for office in the year 2000, if he did a speech in Iowa, let's say he did a speech in Iowa, the only way you would know what he said in that speech is if it was a publicized speech by one of the major news networks, or you were there, period. If you didn't have that access, you don't know what the hell he said when he ran for president in Iowa. But you know exactly what Donald Trump said because everybody was recording it and people were there. So now that he's, and people were there rather in their phones and on their computers. So now that he's actually won the seat and he's the president of the United States, people are infuriated because it's like, I saw you disrespect me the whole time you was running. I saw you not give a fuck about nothing the whole time you was running. And to know that there are millions and millions of other Americans who think that shit is okay, that's what make people so outraged, because it's like it affects them directly now. So I think that's just the big difference between not seeing people not seeing people out in the streets and seeing the things that happen in regards to protests to earlier presidencies that may be looked upon negatively to right now, to the shit that we got going on right now.
Now, some people say, like, with the protesting and stuff, I've heard both ways about it, but, some people I've heard say, with all the protesting, what's really the point? Because they're in office, they're locked in position, nothing you can do about it. What's the point? What do you see with the protesting? Do you think, people should, I'm just curious.
Yeah, if that's something that you feel passionate about, you can't stop people from expressing their passion in whatever way they feel necessary. So if you feel like that's effective for you to get out whatever frustration you have, protest away. Have some type of meaning behind your a knowledge rather behind the protest that you're doing. Don't just be out there because you're mad. Because being mad, that ain't shit. That don't mean nothing. Like, but if you have some type of purpose and you surrounded by other people who serve in that purpose as well, then, I think it's something that people should do because, you know what I mean? The protests that are going on now are for a cause that a lot of people have, personal interest and they're vested in immigrants and, traveling back and forth, people with families that, are being broken apart from this militant idea of what America should look like in this new presidency. Protesting and letting people know that you're still here and your perspective is still out here is necessary. And, sometimes that requires protesting and violence because, as bad as violence is, there's no greater motivator than violence. That gets the people going. You know what I mean? You light a fire up under somebody's ass, then they gonna run. So it's like, that's what I think people trying to do. I think they're trying to light a fire in the presidency and get my man the fuck up out of there as quick as possible by showing that there's more people who are unified against you than there are people who support you and are willing to come out in public and say that they do.
I've seen different stuff online. I saw one like forecaster. He's like a political forecaster, and he's very good at, coming up with stuff that actually happened and turned into fruition. And one thing that I think he did predict Trump winning, but he also in an interview, yeah. And I was gonna, that alludes to what your forecast I want to get in a second. But he predicted, or he's predicting that he'll see some sort of impeachment with Trump in his first 4 years at some point. So you predicting Trump's presidency very early in advance and predicting the New England Patriots winning
right.
months in advance.
Right.
Do you have a forecast on what you think, is going to happen in the next 4 years, maybe beyond the next 4 years?
All I know is that in the next 4 years, you need to be focused on how to get you some money from somewhere. Get you a hustle, man. Because it's going to get real vicious out here. Like, Donald Trump he's given the illusion of being able to do whatever the fuck he wants to do. And that's very rare in a presidency. Like I said before, if Obama would have did what Donald Trump did in his first 8 days, fucking impeachment, they might have whooped his ass on live TV. They might have just bust in the White House and whooped his ass. Like, fuck impeaching him. We get ready to whoop this nigga. Who the fuck does he think he is doing this? So I think within the next 4 years, you're not gonna see, if you have any idealism like I do, you're not gonna see anything that really matches what that is coming out of the White House. And I just hope that, in our new regime, that the wrong people aren't pissed the fuck off. I'm just gonna hope, because I seen a clip on the news and it was like a Chinese official said that with the way that Trump is doing things, a war with the U.S. seems very likely, and that's not something you want to hear. You know what I mean? You don't want to hear that. You don't want to hear that because, like, you just don't want to hear that. China make every goddamn thing. Like, you using some shit made in China right now. Like, you be fucked up if they stop sending that shit from China. Egg Foo Young ain't the only thing you're not gonna be able to fuck with no more. You ain't gonna have shit that you never knew that you, like, I'm telling you, China stopped sending shit, you gonna be like, man, I never knew how fucked up it would be to have to live without towel racks, nigga. But this shit is hard than a motherfucker. Man, I ain't got no carpet. I ain't got no cabinet doors. None of this shit. My refrigerator ain't got no handle. It's the little shit that you're not gonna be able to get. And I just think that I just hope that we stay out of war. So, but I do predict that the next however many, every day, fuck going by years, day to day, this president is going to give you something day to day that make you question, like, man, what the fuck is going on right now? It's going to happen every single day. So that's definitely a prediction. The next 4 years, you're going to see something every day to make you say, I don't know what the fuck going on, man. I don't know what the fuck he doing. Guaranteed, because it's going to be a lot that doesn't apply to what you think the world should look like, man. I mean, speaking to people who have the same, mindset as me, like-minded people, it's going to be something real foreign looking to you, because shit about to get real serious. You done seen in the first 16, however many days he done been in office, he done flipped this bitch upside down. Like Donald Trump, like it's like he came in the dice game and just start rolling them motherfuckers. Rolling it. He ain't took no money out yet, but he just rolling them motherfuckers. And every time he hit a number, you got to pay him, but he ain't put no money down. He just doing whatever the fuck he want to do. He just coming out, cloud. Hey, man, you lost. Fuck you. Cloud. Like, he just doing whatever he want to do, man. It's crazy. It's like seeing somebody walk into your house. Let's say Smallz, you know what I mean? I ain't never been to your crib, but if I come to your crib, Smallz, and the first thing I do is come in, I don't even ask or nothing. I just go straight to your kitchen and not get nothing to drink. I take out some goddamn ground beef and start making some spaghetti in your shit. Like, hey, man, you got any seasoned salt in this? You be like, what the fuck is you doing in my house? I be like, oh, man, you ain't gonna do shit. So sit back and let me make this spaghetti, motherfucker. That's what's going on right now. Donald Trump on another level with this shit, man. So I just hope that somehow we can find some type of serenity. And the best way to find serenity, as I said at the beginning, find you a hustle and run it up for you and yours. And then it'll keep you in a position where they can't fuck your life all the way up.